welcome back to our October Learning with Loden. This is going to be a great topic this month. We're back in person again this year, and we're going to be talking this month about our athletic programs and activities programs. And this is an exciting time to be a part of our athletics and activities programs at Nixa. We offer a well-rounded athletic program that starts with our youth sports and goes all the way through high school, offering virtually every sport that's sanctioned by our High School Activities Association. And then talk about a fun time to be involved in our activities. We have a variety of clubs that start at the elementaries and go all the way through high school. And then if you're in band, choir, and theater with a new HOS Center for the Performing Arts about to open over the next few months, I believe you're going to enjoy this program. And also, Mr. Clark and our other people that are speaking today will be talking about some plans that we have in the future that may involve some renovations potentially at our junior high theater, and also involving the potential for some intramural activities, intramural sports at Nixa High School. Hope you enjoy the program, and welcome back.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another recap edition of Learning with Loden. We want to thank everybody who's able to come out in person for our monthly topic. But we're excited to give you a recap if you could not make it. I'm excited to have Brandon, Clark, and Marian House, who are athletic directors and activity directors for the school district. And so we're going to give you just a kind of a little recap of what you talked about. So, Brandon, how are activities and athletics going in the school district? Like, what's our participation rate? How does that compare to others? And what are some of those great things that we've got going on?
Well, our numbers really since post-COVID have been really good. So we took a dip early on when we first came back, but our numbers, when you look at athletics, activities, and clubs and organizations, we have 70% of our kids that are involved in something at the high school or the junior high, which is great. National average is about 57%, so we're 30% above that. So we're always excited to see those numbers, but we're always looking for ways to get more kids involved, because if we got 7 out of 10 kids involved, that's great, and we celebrate that. But then what about the other 3 out of 10?
Right. Well, and so Marian, I know along with that participation, we've seen a lot of the youth sports, the participation in that increase. What does that look like this year compared to the last few years?
It's been a steady increase, which has been wonderful. This is our largest number of athletes for Nixa Youth Football, the season that just ended this last Saturday, and our basketball numbers for youth boys and girls basketball are both up. Baseball, we had several people come and try out, an awesome day of a lot of kids on the field at one time. But that's something that every year it's just growing even more. 215 kids right now, or actually this last year in our youth wrestling, and we expect good numbers again.
Yeah, I was going to say, I just keep seeing more and more kids participating in that. And I guess along with that, Brandon, you talked about trying to get more kids to participate. What are we looking at as far as additional things for those kids that aren't going to make the high school teams? What is that looking like? And then additional club and activity opportunities as well.
Yeah, so we're looking at for future, really our next probably greatest opportunity for participation is intramurals. And doing some non-conventional intramurals. I've seen schools do it where they'll have a basketball league, volleyball league, and those are great. But I would like to create others. Whether it's flag football, ultimate frisbee, frisbee golf, things like that. That would be a little more non-traditional. That might grab a different group of students. It'd be great for kids that are already involved to do more. But if we could find a niche group of students that are not currently involved and get them involved in something with the school, that's kind of probably our next large growth area. And then looking at activities that we've just added, we have FFA. We have 129 students involved in that, and that's growing. We have archery and robotics through our JROTC program, and then we have esports, which is one, and that's a new statewide sport, and we've got a ton of kids involved. I have 3 teams involved in that, and that's growing, and we hope to expand that to the junior high as well and continue to grow those numbers. And that's where kids can basically play video games, compete against other teams, and potentially earn college scholarships.
Great. And then, Marian, so with the youth sports, I know you guys kind of talked about where we are, but then also what we're looking to expand and where we can expand. What are those expansion opportunities that we can look at for youth sports?
At this particular moment, we are looking at adding softball this next, well, not necessarily it's next year, but that's something that we're looking at
Soon, yeah.
very soon, yeah.
Okay. And then, are there any other opportunities? Or is that, I know we're kind of maxing out with a lot of our stuff, so that really kind of softballs the next opportunity there. Okay.
It is. That would be our next natural girls opportunity to be able to bring that in. We've looked at other sports like volleyball, and due to the restrictive nature of those club sports, it's not as advantageous for us to start that ourselves. So we have a lot of clubs in our area that are very successful and growing, and we don't necessarily need to compete. We look to add the youth sports is where we think we can make an impact, a solid impact.
There's maybe not something else in our community,
correct.
or is that kind of that hole in our plan that we need to fill.
That's correct.
So, Brandon, I know you also talked about and addressed the new things coming from Misha. So what are those new kind of things on the horizon they're going to be introducing that maybe our students can participate in?
Yeah, so the first one's boys volleyball. So in the St. Louis area, they've had that for a few years now, and they've met all the requirements to officially add that as a statewide sport. And so that'll be coming in probably next year. Okay. And with that, we've already started talking with our conference to see how we want to look at adding that, because I know Branson already has a club team that they're running through their school. And so I know that'll grow in time as that trickles down into more schools that get involved. We'll be having spring boys volleyball at some point. But to balance our Title IX numbers, we need to add another girls opportunity. So the most natural one is called stunt. So it's a cheer sport, and it's a way where cheer teams can compete head-to-head against other schools and do combinations of flips and lifts and twists and twirls and all, but
things that we cannot do.
Things that I physically am not able to do. There'd be a lot of problems. Yeah, I always am in awe when I watch our teams practice, and I tease and I walk up to a stunt group and I go, I can't do that, and they're like, no, I can't do that. But that's another opportunity for them to compete, and that is a college sport as well. So that's another opportunity for them to be able to earn college scholarships and go to school for a little bit less money.
That's awesome. Well, okay, so I know the big things that we're needing for the future of really our activities and athletics programs is parking. Mm-hmm. That's a big one. We all know that. We know everyone loves to try to find a spot on Friday night for a big football game, even basketball games, volleyball games. We have any big activity, it's hard to find parking, and then practice space. Yes. So what is that practice space like? What are the issues with not having enough practice space right now?
So at schools I've been fortunate enough to work at in the past, I've had tons of practice space, tons of competition space, multiple fields, things like that. And here, we pretty much for the high school have one field. Mm-hmm. And I mean one all-purpose field, where at the junior high we have a grass field. Baseball, softball, they're grass fields. So you have to be very protective of those, because if you overuse them, they don't grow and they turn to dust over time.
Which is it's not a pretty look. Yeah, I was like, yeah.
But with our one turf field, that is used 6 to 7 nights a week throughout the day. School days, it is used all the time. And so when we looked at, we used to have a full practice field, but due to construction, we lost that. So we have partial.
It's not a parking lot.
Yes, it's a parking lot now. And so we have partial practice fields. So really, it puts more strain on that main game field, and it is used all the time, which includes marching band, which most people don't think of, but they are there every morning at 6:45. They're there at least one night in the evening, sometimes two. We host competitions there for them, as well as all the sports and other things that go on. So we are, what I say, practice facility poor. Yeah. And that's not just for sports, that's for all of our.
Yeah, for everything. Yeah.
Because I have a JROTC program that doesn't have PT space. I mean, they're in the hallways. When it's nice, they go outside, but they just don't have a space to be able to do the things that they need to do for their program. So looking at adding some type of indoor multi-purpose facility that would be able to house our full band, be able to have athletic practices, youth practices, activity things that go on, whether it be cheer dance practices or cheer practices in our commons, things like that, to be able to provide archery, to be able to have a place to shoot other than a classroom, PT space for ROTC. So things like that, and then just to have a very large event center to be able to house some of these things. So right now, I don't know, but I think probably our high school commons and gyms are our biggest event venues in the city. And so to be able to have another venue where we could host not only our events, but other events similar to what we're doing with the ATOS.
So I know you've talked about, really, anytime we add a practice space, we usually, anytime we take up a practice space, for parking, we have to put that somewhere. And I know in a lot of our plans, as we're looking for the parking, we have to expand the parking to current practice spaces with all the grass fields, so we have to put them somewhere. And so it's just going to kind of be this magical dance of, trying to figure out where everything needs to go.
So with the indoor multi-purpose facility, it would allow us to give up those grass fields and add 3 to 350 parking spaces, which our high school desperately needs, not only for events but just for our district.
I was going to say, there's no parking left if you have a student that goes there.
So I feel bad for the young sophomores that don't get their license until March or April, because they're now parking way out by this COC building in a gravel parking lot, because that's all we have for them.
And so I know everyone, we're going to see the plans and we're going to talk about stuff for the future, but we're really planning for like 20 years into the future to kind of have like what's next going to look like 20 years, 10 to 20 years from now. So we have kind of that plan laid out. So anytime we see anything, we're trying to do long-term planning to make sure I think the thing that fascinated me the most was when we were talking about like the ATOS construction and the stadium. We made decisions because we were able to move certain utility and like poles and like lines and everything and put them in a particular space, so we didn't have to redo stuff when we expanded. So trying to plan for that future and have that long-term plan for what Nix is going to look like at the high school as well. So, I'm really excited for all the things that we have to offer our students. We have that 70% participation rate. It's insane. It's great, I think, and it's there. But we are always looking for those things to address the other 30% that's not there. And I'm really excited for all those creative things that you guys have going. So we really thank you for all your work, and we're excited to see what the future holds. So, well, thank you guys for tuning in to another recap edition of Learning with Loden. Join us in November for our in-person one, or check us out for an update as well after that one.